Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Day 3 Crashouts. Guys, I seem to have a lot of these. I kind of just let them like pile up and then I just didn't actually talk about them. I did the bare minimum, which was my check ins, so sorry, not sorry. But conversations. Oh my gosh, I love a good conversation. I love talking to people. I love hearing about what people have to say. But that being said, I have some pet peeves, and I don't feel like it's a super objective matter to be peeved, or nor to have a like proper conversation because a conversation is just talking to someone. Like, you can talk to somebody in so many ways, but for me, that means I feel comfortable or at least have a clear notion or idea that of what I'm supposed to be talking about with this person. Like if you're at a cafe, you probably shouldn't be talking about how you had some like great sex last night. You know what I mean? And if you're talking with a very academically inclined person, maybe you actually talk about your academia. Like in class, it's pretty appropriate to like only talk about class. And if you are, like around your like father who's super into like networking or cybersecurity, and you start talking about your machine learning, maybe that person's not gonna follow along very well, and yeah. So people actually do like talking about certain things, like whoa, big whoop, and actually having a conversation with someone means that you not only talk but you also listen. One of the things that a lot of people I know who are like good yappers but maybe not good conversationalists is that when you talk to them, you can see them like charging up, like ramping up things that they want to say while you're talking to them, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I can say that confidently, but it also is kind of annoying if it feels like the person isn't listening to you. So yes, do plan out your thoughts. I think conversations flow a little bit better if it's like not all intuitive. If there is some structure, like there's debate and Congress, and those things are reliant on structure in order to facilitate conversations to actually be productive. And not every conversation has to be productive. But if you actually do want to just engage and network with people, having a clear understanding of what is appropriate and then also who you are talking to and their knowledge domains, like the what they're about. Like I talk to my friends about very different subject matter than I talk to like my peers, or I network with someone at a hackathon, for example, or like how I talk to kids. They just have very different knowledge domains, and they are open or to different vocabulary, and they also just are kids. So a little rotted. Just don't formulate thoughts in a great way, which means you might have to break up your ideas, make them more simple, make them choppier. They have shorter attention spans, and this is context that you should internalize when you're having a conversation with someone. So I have some friends that are very academically inclined, especially within like the same domain as me, and I can talk a little bit more high level. I don't have to define myself. Also, fun fact for like networking, if you ever want to ask somebody like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, what does that mean?" Say like, "Can you dive deeper?" That's a top 10 phrases to use at networking. Definitely have had to use that when I first thing I ever went to for networking was a NVIDIA GTC, and I was talking to some cybersecurity expert, and I got the standard encryption like number wrong, like the number of bits, and he roasted the shit out of me, but in a good way. But yeah, it was just very awkward to see him like shut down because he thought like I was an expert, I was a good student, and then just it all comes crashing down so quickly. So yeah. It also helps to like not make mistakes and also be consistent in the things that you talk about. I've been crashing out about this one guy who was giving us feedback, and he said, "Okay, here's this thing," and then he suddenly said, you know what, just don't do that, But and then we asked him again, and he's like, "Oh no, you could definitely do this," and then he showed us an example of somebody who could do the thing. I'm like, man, what the hell? So, being consistent, as in also not being a hypocrite, helps in your not your day to day in having a conversation. It's that like respect. There's just power dynamics at play. Burp. When people are talking to you, even if it is a logical fallacy, most people don't know about logical fallacies. So like if you're a fat person talking about how you should lose weight, and you might have lost a lot of weight as an individual, but if you don't establish that ethos first, or if they just look at you and you're fat and they're like very judgmental, then well, they're not gonna respect what you have to say, and that's just an unfortunate truth of conversations. So that's like my very general idea. Have people who actually care. When you talk to somebody, I hope that they actually care about what you have to say. Also, don't be charging up, sitting there like actually listen. Don't want people say stuff And also note context and respect and the ways that people are actually talking and engaging with each other, because it is very much has to be curated towards your environment and what people are expecting, because there's just unspoken expectations that exist out there, and if you break those expectations you make people feel awkward and uncomfortable, and it's just unfortunate. So yeah, very short video for you guys, but a little bit of crash out, a little bit of peeves, and maybe I'll make a deal on Crashout one day about networking. But for now, that's my spiel on people talking to each other, and that's about it. Okay, see ya.